well. It's a brand new week and I pray that God blesses and keeps us all. Amen. Don't forget to give me a big fat thumbs up because I like it. And also share this video because I know there are other single moms out there who are asking these questions. Share this video with them. You can share it on your social media platform so that people can come across it, and hopefully that will help them. When is it the right time to introduce a guy into the family? Now, basically, I'm not a big fan of introducing men into your child's life or your children's life very quickly. In fact, personally, I never did that because I felt like children should be kept from all the adult drama, and children should be protected from all the drama that we all are going through as single moms. And especially when you're trying to find the right guy, it's good to kind of like keep your children away from all that until you find the right person. Whilst you're looking to fall in love with somebody, you're also looking at the character of that person. Are they going to be a good father? Are they going to even be a good person? Because sometimes saying to a guy, are you going to be a good father to my child? To be honest, it's too heavy, honestly, because I don't know if I can do it. I don't think I'll be a great mom to a child or children that don't belong to me. So when a guy says to me, I cannot date a woman with children, I don't actually feel sad about it because I completely understand that. However, there are so many people out there who are able to do it. If I'm put in that position, I know it will be difficult for me, but because of the love that I have for that person, that would actually enable me to obviously look out for their best interests, which means loving their children as well, because that will make them happy. You're not just looking to fall in love with a guy, you're also looking for somebody who is a good person, who's going to be a good person or a good role model. That's what you need to be doing. So it's not just about falling in love with a guy, it's also about checking their character around children, asking questions. Often us women, we don't ask questions, you know, we don't ask guys questions because we're too scared. We feel that if we ask really heavy questions that they may walk away. I tell you now, ask those questions, because if that scares them off, then at least you know that they're not the right people for you. So you would ask a guy, for example, if you're dating a guy, you can then say, I'm a single mom and I've got 1 child or 3 children. In my case, I've got 3 children. What are you like around children? Is that okay with you? Just in case. Trust me, I do ask, especially when I know that person is also looking for a serious relationship. I am not afraid to ask. The worst that he can do is stop talking to me, in which case I will go ahead and block him. You know, you can't play with your children, do you know what I mean? So if he's not happy, then you know that you're not actually with the right person, and in which case you just say goodbye to them. The best time to introduce your children to a guy is when you're already 6 months into that relationship. When you're in a new relationship, often guys want to really get to enjoy you for who you are, get to hang out with you, get to have that space with you. So not many of them would actually say, well, 6 months is too long, how about we meet the children now in a week? And to be honest, if a guy wants to meet the children that quickly, I'll be a bit suspicious. I'm paranoid like that. I was in a relationship with a guy who knew that I had kids. I really didn't want to introduce my children to him. I just wanted to have a good time and just hang out. And 3 months down the line, he said to me, I really like you and I want to be a part of your life. So it was 3 months, and I said, why is that? He said, you know, I feel that that's that part of you that I'm missing out on, and I would like to meet your children. And I knew that he was a nice guy. 3 months was long enough for me to get to know somebody in that sense. So he said he really wanted to meet my children. I said, okay, well, fair enough. I didn't just introduce him to the children and go, oh, here children, here's my new boyfriend or something, or here's my partner, because I knew that it would be difficult for my children, because it was the first guy I dated after I divorced their dad, after I separated from their dad, sorry. So what I did was I invited him to the church. and the children met him in church, and we all went and had Sunday lunch together. So it was a nice atmosphere to introduce a new guy. So I didn't really outrightly say, oh, he's the guy in my life. I just introduced him to the children, and the children introduced themselves, and we just had lunch together. And from then he started to come to the house because he would often come in the evening when the kids are like in bed, so they didn't really see him. But after that dinner, he started coming to the house when the children were there in the afternoon, and would speak to the children. So that's how. And he was actually the only guy my children have ever really met, any guy I've dated, and I've dated quite a few guys after that. I was in a relationship with this particular guy for 4.5 years before we sadly broke up. But since then, I've dated a few guys as well, and none of them met my children, because I knew that I was going through that relationship wilderness. I wasn't sure what I wanted in a relationship, so I was kind of like meeting people randomly, and sometimes I think I like them, and other times I think actually I don't like him anymore. And also I was meeting people that I really liked, but they weren't ready, so I felt like I needed to keep my children away from that drama, and it was the best thing I did. So you need to protect your children, because what happens is that we move on really quickly. I mean, some of us are really strong that we move on quickly from a relationship. I'm one of them. I mean, if I break up with somebody I really like, I may cry about it, but I just move on really quickly. Not to the next guy. I'm just that kind of a strong person. I just move on to the next thing. Maybe throw myself in my career, or just carry on doing what I'm doing, focusing on my children and stuff like that. So I never really have a serious relationship breakdown where I eat chocolate or ice cream or go crazy. I don't do that. But what I know is that if I introduce my children, they may go through that trauma of abandonment again. They may go through that trauma of losing that person, and which will be more difficult for me, because then I have to comfort them and explain why this guy is not in their life. So I don't do that to my children. So I kind of like shield my children from that sort of drama, because they've already been through it, me separating from their dad. So I think that's what you need to be thinking about before you introduce a guy to your children. Think about how your children will feel if that relationship doesn't work out. So you need to really take your time. And if a guy is being really pushy about meeting your children very quick, maybe 2 weeks down the line or a month, you put your foot down and say, you know, I appreciate that you want to see my children. I appreciate that you feel this way, and I really like it, but I just want us to really get to know each other, have a great time together for now, and now we eventually introduce the children to you. So I mean, that's reasonable enough. You need to really protect your children. I've heard of women who introduce several men in their children's life, and I can tell you now that it is the wrong thing to do. I've heard stories about single moms who've let guys in, and in fact I had a particular story about a woman who introduced a guy into her life, had a relationship with him, and this guy became a living lover. She didn't really get to know the guy, and this guy started to molest her daughter. It came out when she broke up with the guy. You know, can you imagine that? That is just nasty and horrible. So for me, I put my children first. If I've said to myself, if I never really have a relationship and my children are safe, I will go with that, because one day they will grow up and I will still find a man, so that's not a problem. But for now, I need to protect my children. I think it's really, really selfish if we put our relationship before our children. Although there's some selfish men out there who are whinging and moaning how single moms put their children first and they want to be put first. Well, why don't you go find someone who hasn't got children? Point blank, full stop. So that's just how it goes. So single moms, please don't be pressured by men to put your children at the back burner. Think about how they feel. Think about the feeling of rejection and abandonment again. You know, every time you introduce a new guy and the guy walks away and that child has built a relationship with that guy, just think about how that child will be feeling. So it's not about you anymore, it's about the children. They've already gone through the trauma of not having their dad in their life, or not having their dad full-time there. that is hard, because I know I was very close to my father, and the fact that my children don't have that sort of relationship with their father makes me sad. But what I would not do to my children is introduce more and more men to obviously walk away from them, and therefore leaving them feeling hurt. And especially when you know what you're like in a relationship, if you know that you're a picky person, because I am really picky, and sometimes I do tend to go into a relationship because I am bored of being on my own, but I don't really like the person I'm dating, and I'm just trying to find something good about them. I recognize that about myself, and that was in the past before I found Christ. I recognize that about myself, so I knew that I had a relationship drama going on, so I just kept my children away from all that. So be aware of that and be wise, okay, single moms. So I would say 6 months. But if that person says, like myself, if that person shows interest of really meeting your children, then 3 months is fine. Never introduce a guy to your children 2 weeks down the line. I've also heard of some women who will invite a guy in their house, first dates in their house full of children. That is a very selfish thing to do. You're literally making that child or your children really hopeful of having that relationship with that man, and you know deep down that man is not actually ready to be in that sort of relationship with them. So why introduce him to your children? What is that all about? Wait and make sure that you've dated that person long enough, and make sure that they are the right person for your family. Now, if you think you're better than me, that you're really good at picking the right guys for you, then it's entirely up to you. But still, you cannot introduce a guy too quickly to your children, because whilst you're introducing him and thinking, oh, I am just gonna introduce him and we'll just crack on and I'll get to know him, that child is thinking, I'm gonna have a new dad. And some children go and meet their father every other week or something like that, and those children are actually they're not looking for a dad. They already have a dad. They're not interested, and in fact they have their own trauma to deal with. They are thinking, why is this guy here? Why can't my dad be him? So children go through this, and we tend to ignore it because, oh well, we've got to live our lives. So you need to really factor how they feel before you start introducing guys. I hope this video has been useful to you. Single moms out there, you're doing a great job. The world may not understand that. The world may criticize you and call you names, but I am here and saying well done to you. And I'm praying every day, as I pray for myself, I pray for all of you, that you continue to do a great job. Your children, are you listening to me? Your children would do well in life. Put them first. Take care of yourself. Make sure that you share this video with other single moms out there. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that, okay? Do it, because I'm your best friend, you know what I mean? Yeah? Okay. See you guys very soon. Thank you very much for watching. Mwah. Love you. Bye.